So this is the Portkeys PT6. It is an affordable and extremely lightweight monitor that is jam-packed with features. Portkeys is looking at this as more of a live streaming tool, mainly for one specific reason. But I do find it's really useful for normal filmmaking as well. And today we're going to be talking about whether this monitor is for you. Full disclaimer, Portkeys did send this out to me, and they actually sent me two. One of it is actually going to be given away to somebody. Stay tuned and find out, but they did not tell me what to say. They're not even looking at this video before it goes up. So let's look at the overall specs of the monitor itself, as well as what it comes in the box. So something really interesting, obviously it comes with the monitor. It comes with two cables, one full size to micro, and one full size to full size. It comes with a sunshade, an Allen key, a swivel mount for mounting on the camera, and a hard case. A lot of people seem to really like the hard case. I personally don't like it because it's just cumbersome, but I guess if you don't really have a bag, or your bag's too small or not really protected, this could be really helpful for you. Let's look at the physical aspects or dimensions of the monitor itself. It is extremely lightweight. It is a touchscreen panel that goes up to 600 nits of brightness. It is a 5.2-inch monitor. It has a resolution of 1920 by 1080. It takes a HDMI signal in up to 4K 60 and goes out 1080 60 max. So on the back side of the monitor, we actually have only really just one port for battery, so you can't swap in and out. But interesting enough, this is a dual plate system, so you can take LPE6 Canon batteries behind, as well as your normal Sony NPF batteries. Really versatile. Obviously at the side, you have a DC to power off V-mount. You have the on-off switch to HDMI out. You have your HDMI in, headphone in, USB for firmware updating, and you have the lock switch to toggle on and off your touchscreen. This unit does not have any fan, so there is no risk of it being noisy. However, it does get slightly warm the longer you use it. It doesn't stop anything. It does get hot, but it's not like scalding hot. So let's look at some of the features that you can see inside of this monitor. Now, if you look at it, let's just turn it on really quickly. Turning on and off, it's not too long, but it's not that fast, that quick also. It does take a while. You have all your focus features. You can actually see it right here, as normal as a lot of other monitors right now. You have focus peaking, you have false color, you have waveforms and things like that. So really everything you expect to see in a monitor of this. In terms of its brightness, I do find that it's, once again, quite useful, but harsh daylight, 600 nits isn't going to be crazy, but for the most part, it's going to be a lot better than using the screen at the back of your camera. The touchscreen functionality is actually really useful. Unlike the older Portkeys monitors that they put out, the touchscreens tend to be a little bit finicky, but this one is actually quite responsive. However, when you press once, it's obviously putting away the OSD, but you can accidentally just tap it, and then so I find myself, like, when I'm changing settings or things like that, I might accidentally just like turn it off, and then like it has that like lag, and then you have to turn it back on, put back the OSD to actually interact with anything. I do want to talk really quickly about the sharpness of the screen. I find that out of the box, I think it puts about like 2 or 5% sharpness. I put it down to 0 because I think just like how you shoot photos in JPEGs or RAW, you don't really increase the sharpness in camera. I find that the monitor over sharpens things, so I don't really know if I'm in focus, so I turn off the sharpness all the way down. That way I can tell if I'm in focus without actually using focus peaking. But the monitor is very sharp, so it's easy to grab focus if you need to. Also, as you can see, this is how bright it goes. So one of the highlight features, and something that you don't normally see in these affordable monitors, or many monitors for the sake, is the fact that you can actually output a lot over HDMI out. So you might have come across this situation where when you're recording footage, yes, you're looking through a view assist, and on the monitor you can see that it's a nice, bright, vibrant image. But when you play back for a client review, it plays back in log. This is a very common thing. Even with the C70 that shoots me right now, it cannot output a lot onto playback, and then what happens is that you might be able to play back on your monitor that has a LUT built in, but if you're outputting over, let's say, to a wireless transmitter to a client monitor, you're suddenly playing crappy looking footage because it's all flat, and people are like, why is it so flat? Why you cannot? Why is it so? Why did you shoot it this way? And then you got to explain, oh no, I'm shooting log, and it just wastes a lot of time. And so what you can do is actually you can play back and toggle a LUT over HDMI out, which is really useful, and it's something that I really like about this monitor. And in terms of LUTs, you can actually store quite a number on this, so I'm actually quite happy with it. Also, something interesting that Portkeys has done, I don't really know why, and if anybody has been asking for it, is this vertical stretch function, where apparently the idea is for you can actually stretch certain parts of the image on the screen, and it will output the same thing over HDMI out. It's apparently supposed to make your legs longer. I'm not so sure who actually wants to do that, but I guess it might. But certain places where I do see, for example, let's just say in this situation, your backdrop is like you're at the edge of your backdrop already. And there's still that sliver left. So what you can do is you can actually just increase or stretch the screen out so that if you're outputting a live stream, for example, you can actually clean out without actually needing to move your camera or things like that. So this is one of the more creative functions that you might be able to use for it. I can't think of any other things, but maybe somebody might. The only issue is that when you're trying to adjust the parameters of this screen stretch, you do find that you will have some like issues when it's going over HDMI out. You gotta like wait until you've set in your parameters, then only the signal will feed in. So let's look at some of the cons of this monitor. The first one is obviously the lens shade. The lens shade is a crappy piece of plastic. It is better than nothing, however, and considering that this is a relatively affordable monitor, it's better than not having any, but it's hard to put on, it's flimsy, doesn't really cover anything. You're better off just like using like hard foil or something like that. Another thing is obviously going to be the lack of fans. Now this can be very difficult. I've mostly shot with this indoors, so it's like not really a big issue. However, I have shot with it a bit outdoors, and it gets very hot very fast. So obviously, if you max out this brightness, the screen is kind of hot already. I would have loved to see some cooling. I do see like these honeycomb things. I think that's for cooling as well. But it does get hot sometimes. It hasn't turned off on me, but it might on you. The other thing I don't like is that the fact that your HDMI in is on this side and then your HDMI out is on this side. So your wires are like just all over the place. Not really easy cable management. I would have liked to see everything on one side, on and off, and then obviously the switch on the other side. But obviously, once again, this is coming from a very affordable monitor for what you are getting. And I think that if you're looking for a monitor right now and you're on a budget, this is actually a very solid option to look. Like, you're not putting a lot of investment into this monitor, but it gives you a lot of return. If you can live with some of the downsides that I just mentioned, this is actually an extremely excellent monitor. Obviously, you know, there's only one mounting option, so that can be a little bit difficult if you're rigging out your camera. But other than that, this is a solid option in the sea of very affordable monitors out there, and I'd be more than happy to recommend this monitor for people who are on a budget. So before I end this video, I want to talk about the giveaway that I'm having for one of these PT6s. It's a brand new one. I just took it out to test it, but to join is really simple. All you have to do is go to Instagram, follow me and Portkeys, comment on the post that I'm linking down in the description below, comment why you want one of these, as well as tag a friend, and you'll be in the running. And I'll announce it in 1 in 2 weeks. In fact, just in time for Christmas actually. I'll announce it maybe on Christmas Day. That'll be awesome. And hopefully this goes to somebody that really needs it, or at least will make the most out of it. And thank you so much, Portkeys, for giving out. I really appreciate it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about the monitor, if I missed out something, do let me know down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to help out. Thank you so much, Portkeys, for sending out this out to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.